In the past years, terrorism has been considered to be one of the most dangerous problems the United States has faced.
There have been multiple recent attacks in the U.S. and our allied countries.
U.S. citizens are feeling less safe as the attacks and movements of terrorist organizations continue to progress in our country, as well as in the world. Many Americans that have been surveyed about this issue have agreed that it is one of the biggest issues we face. As years have passed, this number has continuously increased as terrorism has gotten much scarier and groups have gotten much stronger. 16% of Americans say that they think terrorism is the biggest problem our country faces. This 16% is actually a very high one, considering the following percentages. Terrorism is the leading percentage by 3% out of the 13% that said government was the biggest issue, 9% that said economy, and 7% that said gun control. This number is the highest it's been in over a decade, since September 11th, 2001. What is your opinion on the terrorism issue in our country?
My opinion is it's a big problem, and I think it should be fixed. I don't think there's too much attention on it. Like that thing that happened recently with the dude that said his brain was like poisoned by ISIS. I think he probably should have got a little help. That's my opinion on that.
Do you think this is possibly one of our biggest problems?
It's not the biggest problem. It's up there with a couple other things, but it's a pretty big problem.
2 years, we have had terrorist attacks that have resulted in a large number of deaths and many more injuries. On December 7th.
Another tragic event this year occurred on June 12th when a mass shooting occurred in an Orlando nightclub. The shooter ended up killing 50 people and injuring over 50. This is a very disappointing event in other ways besides the fact that multiple deaths occurred. The security at the nightclub should have been able to prevent this by taking away his weapons or having enough security to keep him out. Not only are the results of these attacks horrendous due to the many lives lost and property destroyed, they are bad in other ways as well. Many American citizens are gradually losing confidence of our country as these attacks keep happening. The ability for our government to protect us is being questioned. The threat of terrorism is getting greater as we speak. Different groups and organizations are coming up with new ideas and techniques for carrying out their attacks. Some of these methods are so advanced that we can hardly monitor them. Recent news reports say that British jihadists returning from the Middle East have been experimenting with chlorine and mustard gas. Not only this, but terrorists are using drones to bomb the UK. The most recent drone attack was in October.
ISIS, the terrorist group, have reportedly used a drone packed full of explosives to attack coalition forces. Anti-ISIS coalition soldiers intercepted the unmanned aerial vehicle in Erbil, Iraq. The attack killed 2 Kurdish fighters and injured 2 French soldiers.
In 2015 alone, 60 terrorist cases have been passed.
It was found out that almost all of these cases were ISIS's use of social media. They were using social media to radicalize U.S. citizens and encouraging them to carry out these attacks. This way, they can gain control by infiltrating people through social media. It is a very dangerous opportunity for terrorists to be able to use internet against us, and one that we need to change. I feel that social media may not be secure enough, and that needs to be updated.
The candidates for the 2016 election have been attempting to brainstorm ideas to address this issue. Hillary Clinton was one of the best qualified for handling the job because of her previous position as Secretary of State. She voted to use force in Iraq to stop ISIS. In another debate, Hillary Clinton responded to Trump's criticism, saying that she would not declare war on an entire religion because it would be too dangerous. Trump, however, does not agree with Clinton's proposals. His approach is more towards limiting the amount of Syrian refugees that enter the country to prevent terrorist access. This is just an idea about the candidates' discussions of this issue. It seems to me like they haven't gotten very far and need to step up their game.
Even though our country's security could improve, our government has been doing a good job at adapting our systems. With their hard work, we have reached major improvements. Since 9/11, the previous decade has been full of improvement for our country's defense systems. The security at airports have increased, making it more difficult to smuggle in weapons and explosives. Despite this, the system is still responsible for flaws. On June 11, 2016, a man entered the Hollywood International Airport with a gun and began shooting. This is one of the examples of how security is not good enough.
Our government has done other things as well to prevent terrorism. Large investments have been made in many different government agencies. Some of these agencies, such as the FBI, have used these large sums of money to develop better ways to keep us safe. They have been improving on their ability to catch terrorist activity on the internet and are continuing to do so. I think that if they spend their funds properly, our country can really improve our security systems. We could come up with new ways and solutions to these acts of violence. Although our country has gotten better at this, there is still a major need and improvement. In fact, our British allies have begun to do this. They have taken a step towards facing this issue by beginning to infiltrate terrorist groups. Their spies are taking major risks and are taking the fight to the Islamic State.
At M16's Vauxhall Cross headquarters in central London, M16 Chief Alex Younger stated, "As I speak, the highly organized external attack planning structures within Daesh, even as they face military threat, are plotting ways to project violence against the UK and our allies without ever having to leave Syria."
As you can see, the British have begun to lead the way to stopping terrorism. They're making brave and courageous moves that are proving effective, and is a strong move against terrorists. This is the path that we need to follow. As urgently as possible, our country is slowly being picked away by these terrorist groups, and we need to do something about it. The safety of our country is in our hands, and it's time that we come up with some solutions. There are existing programs today that are working towards the goal of stopping terrorism. NSA, for example, help improve surveillance and keep track of what goes on with the internet and our technology. They are continuing to protect us and improve our safety. There are also many counterterrorism charities and groups that are stronger in helping us stop terrorism in our country. And if we continue to discuss ideas about this issue, we can really make a difference. What we want from the president-elect is for them to try as hard as they can to end these horrible events and keep our country safe.